Hey, folks, we'll be kicking this off in a few seconds. Wanting to make sure all the connections to all our channels, Facebook, YouTube, and X, are up and running. I see Facebook is streaming, X is streaming, and we're just waiting for, there we go, YouTube is streaming. So let's move ahead. Hey, folks, Gene Galin here. It's ChathamNC Sports Roundup with Asheebo Rojas of the Chatham News and Record and myself of the Chatham Journal. Here's a quick agenda of what we're going to go through at today's live stream. Um, we got a bunch of basketball going underway. Also, the basketball power rankings. Asheebo started that last week, and I think there's going to probably be some changes in the order for this week. We'll talk about high school wrestling, and then we'll get into what's in this week's Chatham News and Record that comes out every Thursday. Of course, everybody's favorite, Asheebo's Athlete of the Week, and then always make sure to follow Asheebo on Asheebo R38, and Asheebo and I will discuss what games we'll be going to the next few days. All right, Asheebo, you want to go ahead and let me get rid of the graphic. Boom. And we will hand this off. Asheebo's going to do most of the talking today because I've got a bad cold and don't sound very good. Don't look very good either. All right, Asheebo, kick it off.
Yeah, Gene, I got you tonight. Just going to fill in for you. I know you're not feeling all right, but Southeast Alamance, Seaforth was a big basketball game we had this week. I know for me, it looks to be a budding rivalry between Stallions and the Hawks. And, talking to some Seaforth people, I think they feel the same way. And in this one, they went to Southeast Alamance on the boys' side. Stallions got the best of the Hawks, 74-65. And in this one, Southeast Alamance, a really good team. They jumped out to a lead early on, and Seaforth stuck around in this one. I think they got it to within 4 even later in that fourth quarter. But Southeast Alamance, just too much for Seaforth. They pulled away at the end there, and just wasn't enough for Seaforth, despite Campbell Matter having a season-high 25 points, a high-scoring game for the Hawks as well. They were knocking down some shots and challenging Southeast Alamance, just not enough to overcome that team. And then also, too, Chatham Central got 2 straight wins this week to bounce back from the 2 straight losses from last week. They beat Northmore 80-31 earlier in the week, and then followed that with a 69-41 win over Ascend Leadership. And they're going to be at North Stokes for the first conference game tomorrow night. So things are going to ramp up for Chatham Central pretty soon here. And then Woods Charter, they got a big win over River Mill. I think it was a 30-point win. Just got the score right. I forgot. I think it was 62-32, if I'm not mistaken. And Chatham Charter as well. They got to play Uwharrie Charter tonight. Chatham Charter, 5 wins in a row for them. So we'll see if they can keep their win streak going. But that's all we've had for basketball this week on the boys' side. And then just give you a quick rundown of the scores for the girls' side of things. Southeast Alamance Seaforth, a rematch of last year's regional final. Of course, Southeast Alamance defending 2A champions. Now both teams are in 5A. But Stallions bringing that whole team back from last year that won it all. They got the best of Seaforth once again, 65-49 earlier in the week. And in this one, kind of similar to the boys, right? They got a big night from Katie Leonard. She had 32 points in this one. But it was a struggle for the rest of the team to get going offensively. And Southeast Alamance, I think, had 3 players get double-doubles in this game too. So dominant performance from them. And then Northwood, they got a win over Orange 39-29 as well. So things are starting to pick up for the Chargers. Jordan Matthews is going to be playing Phoenix Academy tonight on the girls' side. And then also going down the list, Chatham Central played Ascend Leadership the other night, won that one 46-26. And that one, Addison Golson, 17 points, 14 rebounds. She's continuing to be a dominant force in the paint. Similar to what we saw last week as well. We'll talk a little bit more about last week's games too once we get deeper into the stream. But Addison Golson showed up. That's her 4th double-double of the season, by the way, for the Bears. So she's continuing to step up big for them. And then Woods Charter, they got a close win over River Mill, 27-25. And in that one, Wesley Oliver had 9 points in the low-scoring affair. Woods Charter pulls out another win with that one. And then same thing, Chatham Charter. Girls are also going to play Uwharrie Charter tonight, see if they can bounce back from a rough stretch the past 2 or 3 weeks for them. So, yeah, just going into power rankings. You guys been keeping up with the paper. We have the power rankings started, I think, last week. Once we saw all the teams play for the first time, and so the boys power rankings. Just to give you a rundown. Last week it was Jordan Matthews at 6, Seaforth at 5, Northwood at 4, Woods Charter at 3, Chatham Central at 2, and Chatham Charter at 1. But this week for the boys side of things, I have Chatham Central coming in at 6, Jordan Matthews at 5, Woods Charter at 4, Seaforth at 3, Northwood at 2, and Chatham Charter at 1. I think Chatham Charter is the hottest team right now. Like you said, 5 wins in a row. They've been playing some really good basketball. Northwood starting to pick some things up. They got Chad Graves back from the 919 Phenom Showcase over the weekend. He came in and played his first game back with the Chargers against Chapel Hill. That was a big win for them over a really good Chapel Hill team. And so he returned from, going up to Detroit to start his senior year. He's back now and changing some things for Northwood. Now they have that another big inside presence, 6'11" guy who can defend shots, get rebounds, and also play alongside Bakari Watkins, who has stepped in as a crucial player in that big man position as well. So, Northwood, they're probably going to be pretty scary going forward now with Chad Graves back. But then Seaforth, I'm getting some big wins. Also, we have a story in the paper on this one. They got the win over Woods Charter, so they get the advantage over Woods Charter, who's at 4 there from last week's game. And then Jordan Matthews, the same thing. They got the head-to-head win over Chatham Central. So they're going to get the nod over the Bears. So I think with the rankings, of course, still early. We don't know exactly where all these teams are going to end up at by the end of the season, of course. But from what I see with the boys, man, it's really competitive. Just looking at what each team has done in the county, and I really have yet to really can't say there's like a bad team this year. So it'll be interesting to see how each team does in their respective conference and class going forward as we start to get into some conference play coming soon. And then on the girls' side of things, for the power rankings, we have last week we had Jordan Matthews at 6, Northwood at 5, Chatham Charter at 4, Woods Charter at 3, Chatham Central at 2, and Seaforth at 1. This week, a little thing, some moving around going on this week in the power rankings. I have Chatham Charter coming in at 6, Woods Charter at 5, Chatham Central at 4, Jordan Matthews at 3, Northwood at 2, and Seaforth at 1. Once again, I think Seaforth played a really good team in Southeast Alamance. Of course, things are a little different this year without Gabby White, but Katie Leonard has been stepping up big. Just wasn't the best night for the rest of her team in that game. And then Northwood, like you said, picking up some steam here with a couple wins. They had a really good showing at the Phenom 919 Showcase, 2 dominant wins in that showcase over the weekend that they hosted. And then Jordan Matthews got the head-to-head win over Chatham Central, which was a big one. And I think I want to segue into that game because Gina and I were there. And it was a big night, really, for Jordan Matthews as a whole. We also had another story on Lisa Morris, 1980 girls basketball graduate who went on to play at Wake Forest. She got her jersey retired after the girls' game. So the girls' game that preceded it was just like a perfect moment for the program, especially the girls' side of things, because they got the big win over Chatham Central. And, that game was really vindictive of the type of fight Jordan Matthews has on their team this season. Of course, still some youth on that team, but a lot of the girls that were freshmen last year or sophomores have stepped up as sophomores and juniors, taking their experience, and they're playing better basketball. You can see it on the court. And even though in this game, Chatham Central came out hot, they were on fire, 14-0 lead in the first quarter for most of the way. But then at the end of that first quarter, Jordan Matthews got a couple turnovers. They got 5 quick points, and then they just carried that run on throughout the rest of the game. And they really frustrated Chatham Central with a lot of turnovers. They went into a full court press that created a lot of steals and easy layups for them on the other end. And Chatham Central got into some foul trouble as well, just trying to stay together and limit those turnovers. but also defend Jordan Matthews in those fast break situations, and ended up having Jordan Matthews go to the line plenty of times. Chatham Central had foul trouble at the end of the game, and that's how Jordan Matthews was able to close this one out, especially in that fourth quarter. Chatham Central still hung around, but they couldn't quite get over the hump. So Jordan Matthews beats Chatham Central for the first time since the 14-15 season. So in over a decade, it was I think it was a January game right after the New Year. So I think we first said 2014, but it was technically 2015, but it was the 14-15 season. And then right after that, the boys came out in that game. Jordan Matthews also was down, I think 11-4 early on in that game. Chatham Central came out, hit a few shots, and big thing for them was Zan August for Jordan Matthews. Team high 19 points, was just aggressive all night, getting to the line plenty of times, and got a lot of his shots at the free throw line, especially in that fourth quarter. And Chatham Central really just struggled to hit shots. I think after the beginning of that game, they went really cold. They didn't shoot the three well in that one, and it took a lot of them because this team, that's what they like to do. They like to light you up from the perimeter, which didn't work out for them in this game. And Jordan Matthews just took advantage of that, with continuing to be aggressive, forcing fouls, getting to the line, and also feeding the hot hand and August there. So they get their first win over their rivals since 2019. And I think, like we said, the first time Jordan Matthews varsity teams have swept Chatham Central since that 14-15 season. Gene, did you have any comments on that game?
Yeah, that was a fun game to watch and be at and take pictures at. Coach Albright, as always, was as I said, she was the best dressed coach there that night. It was a fun atmosphere. It was nice to see the folks from Bear Creek on one side, the folks from JM, and there was a little bit of intermingling because the place was packed. And you know what, folks? I love going to games where you got two county teams playing. Don't ask me who my favorite team is because I don't have one when two county teams are playing. I just want to see both of them do well. So, speaking of which, we're going to jump this a little bit because we're going to talk about what Asheebo's got in the paper. But Friday night, we've got two Chatham County teams going to be playing each other in basketball, and that's going to be Seaforth at Northwood Boys and Girls, JV, and Varsity. So Asheebo will be out there, and reminder, I'll be out there as well to take pictures. But reminder, Asheebo R38 on X. Great follow, and the other thing too is I think Asheebo, have you gotten 1,000 followers yet? Because I think you're like at 990 or 995.
On X, no, I think I'm still actually at 755. I think
755. Folks, come on, cut Asheebo a break. Get on there and follow him so that he can hit that 1,000 because he's definitely worth following. Because if you want updates on what's going on and you can't wait for the Thursday paper, you still need to get Thursday's paper, but you still need to follow Asheebo to get the up to date stuff. And the neat thing is he's gotten a lot of positive responses post game video interviews with players and coaches. So I appreciate him doing this, and I know the parents and fans of the players appreciate that, as well as the players, because as I've said previously, players sometimes go, well, how come Asheebo didn't ask to talk to me? Hey, that's not my call. That's Asheebo's call. All right, let's get into what's in the paper this week. Asheebo, go for it.
Yeah, in the paper this week, like we said, we have did a sit-down interview with Lisa Morris before getting her jersey retired. Of course, we reported that it was going to happen last week, but now we got a chance to sit down and talk with her. So she reflected on her time at Jordan Matthews, both as a player and a little bit as a teacher as well. And you can read more about that. Like I said, we have the game stories from Jordan Matthews, for Chatham Central basketball. We also have the game story from Seaforth and Woods Charter basketball. Like we said, the boys game, the meeting between Coach John Berry and Coach Leonard McNair at Woods Charter. Berry, of course, Coach McNair when he was a player at Woods Charter over a decade ago. And so the two have did their second meeting as head coaches, and Seaforth got the best of them again in a really close game. So you can read more about that. And, of course, we have our Winter Sports Roundup. And on top of that, we have another edition of our college recap. We had some former athletes win some postseason honors, especially on the football side. And you can read more about what the locals are doing in basketball as well, especially on the girls' side of things. We have Gabby White, her first year at Virginia. She's coming off the bench and providing some huge minutes for Virginia. I think at the time we wrote this, she's averaging 8.3 points per game, 3.4 rebounds per game. She just had a 12-point performance against Boston College. So she's doing some big things. Of course, guys like Jaren Stevenson at UNC, providing that defensive edge for UNC, has been doing some big things. So read about all the local college athletes, get an update on them. And then we have our athlete of the week. And that's all we have in this week's paper.
Yeah, hold on. I was actually checking. You're right. You're 754 followers. So, folks, we can get them up to 1,000. Come on, let's do that. All right. Let's get into and look. We know we have over 1,000 viewers every week. We're like over 1,500 a week. So just follow them. All right. Let's go into your athlete of the week.
Yeah, athlete of the week this week, we're going to Chatham Charter basketball on the boys' side of things, and it's going to be Ryder Murphy from Chatham Charter. He had a crazy week last week for the Knights. Like we said, 5 wins in a row for them, and he was a big part of it. So against Cornerstone Charter on December 3rd, he had a team high 19 points, career high 10 steals in that game. They won that one by 1 point. And then following that game, he had 16 points while shooting 50% from the field in a 63-50 win over Wheatmore. And that was last Friday. So just more about Ryder. I mean, through 10 games, when we wrote this, he's second on the team in points per game. And he also leads the Knights in assists and steals. So he's doing a lot for Chatham Charter, stepped up big. I know he played some big minutes last year when he was a freshman, and now as a sophomore. He's stepping up more, blossoming more as an offensive player, and a big piece of what Coach Jason Messier and the Chatham Charter Knights are trying to do this season. So I think I want to say they're 7-3 as of today. And like I said, they have another game against URA Charter tonight, who's in the Four Rivers Conference alongside Northwood and Jordan Matthews. So they're going to get an opponent a little step above their class weight here, and we'll see if they can keep their win streak going.
All right, so folks, congratulations, Ryder. You're the Asheebo's Athlete of the Week. As I said, everyone's favorite portion of the live stream. So Asheebo, keep on doing that. All right, let's see. You and I are going to be at the Northwood versus Seaforth game. I'm not going to be anywhere tonight because I'm going to take a NyQuil, whatever, nighttime stuff, and going to get zonked out so I can make the game tomorrow and not infect everybody with my cold. Anything else, Asheebo, before we wrap this up?
Yeah, for my ex-followers, tonight, if you see a little different things from me, I will be covering the 1A football championships with high school OT. So I'll be writing the story and keep people updated on there for that. But also, I know Gene said you can follow me on X, but also reach out to me on Facebook as well. I'm also post-game interviews there. I share things from the school's athletic pages and some news as well. And so we'll have some other news coming out the next week. I don't know if you guys saw, but big thing in baseball, summer baseball specifically, Old North State League is bringing a team to Solid City through relocation, and they have plans on building a downtown stadium for that to be open in May 2026. So that's going to be big news there. They have a name competition going on now on Facebook and online that you can go submit your name ideas. Seen a lot of pretty good ones. And interested to see what they're going to choose for the voting. I think on December 14th or after that, they're going to hold a voting for the name competition. And then they'll decide what the name of the team will be. But that'll be exciting. You guys remember over the summer, I cover a lot of summer baseball with Legion, but also keeping up with some of our athletes that do play in the Old North State League. And it's going to be cool now that there is one at Solid City. So I'll probably add that to my coverage in the summer if I'm still here. So I'm excited for that. But like I said, more news is going to come during the next week's paper. And also, to be on the lookout for our Christmas edition, trying to get, like we talked about the last couple of weeks, trying to do a all-county football team in the paper, highlighting some of our best players here in the county this season. We had some historic seasons, some great play, and I think the boys deserve some recognition for that. So that's all I got. For you guys. I think, winter it gets slow a little bit between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then things pick back up in January. So we're going to continue our basketball coverage tomorrow. Like Gene said, Northwood and Seaforth, boys and girls varsity doubleheader. Actually, I think it's going to be a JV quad as well. So you can catch a whole bunch of basketball action tomorrow. Rivalry basketball should be a good one. And we'll see you guys around.
Yeah, we'll be back next week, and the week after that is, I think, Christmas, and Christmas Day falls on Thursday, so we'll probably take that week off. Oh, the other thing, Asheebo and I have been talking about this. There is a cricket field coming to Chatham County, but we'll have more information on that. We've got to do some digging around, but that's been apparently approved over in the eastern part of the county, closer to Wake County. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next Thursday, and hey, maybe we'll see you at the game tomorrow. Northwood is hosting Seaforth for JV and varsity girls.